There is a place on the Mediterranean coast where wealth follows a completely different set of rules. You can walk across the entire country in less than an hour. It is called Monaco, and despite covering just over 2 square kilometers, it concentrates more wealth per square meter than almost anywhere else on Earth. Superyachts fill its harbor. Luxury towers rise above the Mediterranean. Exotic cars glide through streets that feel more like a private exhibition than an ordinary city. But what makes Monaco truly extraordinary isn't what you see, it's what you don't. Because Monaco isn't simply a destination for the rich, it was carefully built to become the world's ultimate home for the ultra-wealthy. And once you understand how this tiny country actually works, you'll never look at it the same way again. Most people know Monaco as a tax haven, but very few know how it became one. The story begins more than 150 years ago, with a single decision that completely changed the future of this tiny principality. A decision whose effects are still visible today in every luxury apartment, every superyacht anchored in the harbor, and every billionaire who chooses to call Monaco home. Let's discover why. Before we begin, subscribe to support our work and help us bring you more stories like this. Most people believe Monaco became wealthy because billionaires moved there. The truth is almost the opposite. Billionaires came because Monaco had already spent generations creating the perfect place for wealth to grow. The turning point came in 1869. At the time, Monaco was a small principality struggling to survive. Its economy depended largely on fishing and agriculture, offering little that distinguished it from countless other coastal towns along the Mediterranean. Everything changed when Prince Charles III made one of the boldest economic decisions in modern European history. He abolished personal income tax for Monaco's residents. Instead of relying on taxation, the principality chose a completely different path. The famous Casino de Monte Carlo would generate the revenue needed to support the country. What seemed like an extraordinary gamble soon became one of the most successful financial strategies ever implemented by a nation. Over the following decades, Monaco attracted entrepreneurs, investors, and wealthy families from across Europe. The principality slowly transformed into a place where capital wasn't simply protected, it was welcomed. More than 150 years later, that same decision continues to shape everyday life in Monaco. It influences the value of every apartment overlooking the Mediterranean, every superyacht moored in Port Hercules, and every billionaire who decides to make this tiny country their home. Because although Monaco has changed dramatically since the 19th century, the philosophy behind it has remained remarkably consistent. Create the ideal environment for wealth, and wealth will always find its way here. High above the Mediterranean, Monaco's skyline rises almost vertically from the coastline. With so little land available, the principality had only one direction left to grow: up. Tower after tower, luxury residences overlook the sea, each designed to offer something far beyond spectacular views. Inside, these apartments feel more like private resorts than traditional homes. Indoor swimming pools, private wellness areas, temperature-controlled wine cellars, smart home technology that manages lighting, security, and climate with a single touch. In some residences, owners can drive into a secured underground garage and take a private elevator directly to their apartment without ever walking through a public lobby. Everything is designed around one idea: privacy. One of the best-known examples is the Tour Odeon penthouse, one of the most extraordinary residences ever built in Europe. Estimated to be worth around 300 million euros, it remains one of the most expensive apartments on the planet. But in Monaco, what makes a property truly exceptional isn't only its price, it's the level of discretion it provides. Behind every glass facade is a world intentionally hidden from public view, away from photographers, away from crowds, away from unnecessary attention. That same philosophy extends beyond the skyline. Just below the towers lies Port Hercules, home to some of the world's most spectacular superyachts. Many stretch well beyond 100 meters in length and are valued at hundreds of millions of dollars. Some include private cinemas, swimming pools, spas, gyms, and even helipads. Professional crews work around the clock to keep every detail running perfectly. Yet for many of their owners, these yachts aren't permanent homes. They're simply another residence. another place to live, another expression of a lifestyle built around freedom, mobility, and absolute privacy. As dawn breaks over Monaco, the city reveals a side that few visitors ever experience. Just after sunrise, the air carries the scent of the Mediterranean mixed with freshly brewed espresso, drifting from the first cafes opening their doors. The harbour is almost perfectly still. Only the gentle sound of water brushing against the hulls of the yachts breaks the silence. For a brief moment, the streets are nearly empty. The Casino de Monte Carlo remains quiet. And before the city fully comes to life, Monaco feels surprisingly peaceful. Then everything begins to change. Cafes slowly fill with residents enjoying breakfast beside Port Hercules or overlooking Casino Square. Luxury cars glide through the streets without drawing much attention. Here, seeing a Ferrari or a Rolls-Royce is simply part of the morning routine. Even something as ordinary as coffee feels different. A cappuccino and a croissant can cost more than an entire meal in many European cities. Yet hardly anyone thinks twice about the price. Because Monaco was never built around saving money. It was built around enjoying wealth with comfort, discretion, and convenience. As the morning turns into afternoon, conversations move from cafe terraces to Michelin-starred restaurants, private lounges, and exclusive hotel salons overlooking the sea. This is where investment opportunities are discussed. Business partnerships are formed, and relationships worth billions of dollars quietly take shape over lunch. What surprises many first-time visitors isn't the luxury, it's the pace. There are no crowded subway stations, no rush-hour traffic, no sense that everyone is racing against the clock. Life follows a different rhythm, a rhythm shaped by privacy, security, and the freedom that extraordinary wealth can provide. As the afternoon unfolds, Monaco begins to move in a very different way. Some residents leave Port Hercules aboard their private yachts, cruising along the French Riviera toward destinations like Saint-Tropez or Portofino. Others take a much faster route. Within minutes, helicopters lift off from Monaco's heliport, carrying passengers across the coastline to nearby airports where private jets are already waiting. In Monaco, distance is rarely an obstacle. Breakfast by the Mediterranean. A business meeting in London. Dinner in Paris. For many residents, all of it can happen on the same day. When time becomes your most valuable asset, every minute matters. Above the coastline, private clubs, exclusive lounges, and luxury hotels quietly welcome some of the world's most influential people. Hedge fund managers, shipping magnates, technology entrepreneurs, Formula One champions. Many of them rarely appear in the headlines, yet their businesses, investments, and decisions influence industries far beyond Monaco's borders. Despite its tiny size, the principality has become one of the world's most powerful networking hubs for the ultra-wealthy. Then, once every year, Monaco transforms completely. The peaceful streets that usually carry luxury cars become one of the most famous racing circuits on the planet. The Monaco Grand Prix. For one extraordinary weekend, Ferraris, McLarens, and Red Bulls race through streets that residents drive every single day. Spectators watch from luxury apartments, hotel balconies, and the decks of superyachts anchored just meters from the circuit. Some hotel suites cost more than $10,000 per night during the event. Private yachts become floating VIP lounges. Temporary grandstands fill with guests who have traveled from every corner of the world to witness one of motorsport's greatest spectacles. But when the race is over, Monaco quietly returns to what it has always been. As night falls, another symbol of Monaco comes alive. The legendary Casino de Monte Carlo. With its marble halls, golden decorations, and magnificent chandeliers, it feels far more like a royal palace than a traditional casino. Yet, this building represents much more than elegance. It helped finance the transformation of Monaco itself. Inside, some visitors come simply to admire its history and architecture. Others enter private gaming salons where a single wager can exceed the price of an ordinary family home. But perhaps the casino's greatest luxury isn't gambling. It's exclusivity. Here is the number that changes everything. Monaco is home to around 38,000 residents, and according to various estimates, more than 1 in every 3 is a millionaire. Very few places on Earth come close to that level of concentrated wealth. Once you understand that, everything else begins to make sense. The apartment prices, the super yachts, the quiet streets, the extraordinary security, even the luxury that feels almost ordinary to the people who live here. In Monaco, wealth isn't something that stands out. It's simply part of everyday life. But what truly makes this tiny country remarkable isn't how expensive it is, it's how deliberately it was built. Every element serves a purpose. The tax system, the real estate, the marina, the financial services, the security, the privacy, even the pace of daily life. Together, they create an environment unlike anywhere else in the world. Monaco didn't become the preferred address of the world's wealthiest people by accident. It became that way through decades of careful planning and more than a century of consistency. The decision made by Prince Charles III in 1869 laid the foundation. Generations of the Grimaldi family continued to refine that vision, and year after year, the world's wealthiest individuals confirmed it with their own choices. Not by words, but by buying homes, docking their yachts, building businesses, and making Monaco their home. Today, Monaco isn't the largest country, it isn't the most powerful, and it certainly isn't the most populated. Yet for those who value privacy, security, and an unmatched quality of life, it remains one of the most desirable places on earth. Because in Monaco, wealth isn't the exception, it's simply the way of life. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to subscribe and support our work, and tell us in the comments, would you choose Monaco if you had the chance?